This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. I am here today with Regina Bergman, and let me tell you just a little bit about her. She is known as the Profit Acceleration and Exit Strategy Coach, and she helps entrepreneurs who have a mission, purpose, and passion to make a positive difference in the lives of others so they can create a solid foundation and accelerate the growth of their businesses, allowing them to make a difference in their own life, the lives of their family, and the lives of those they serve. I'm going to skip over and just hit a couple highlights here real quick because she's got quite a story. But if you go to our website at brilliancepluspassion.com and look at the post on this episode, you'll see the full story in the show notes. As a public speaker, Regina has presented at the Texas, Wyoming, and Colorado Chamber of Commerce Executives Conventions and other government agencies. Her book, which is called Bulletproof Your Marriage, is an international bestseller. She's also the co-author of the best-selling series, The Better Business Book, as well as Generate Cash Flow Quickly, The 10 Secrets to Creating Profit Now, and other business books. Additionally, she's a host of a podcast called Pursuing Profit with Principles. Regina Bergman, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, Adam. It's great to be here.
All right. So first of all, I gave a little bit of a preview of what you're up to these days in the intro. So just tell us, how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and the world at large?
Great question, Adam. You know, people may not be aware, but 46% of businesses fail due to a lack of experience and knowledge in how to run a business. We simply don't know what we don't know about starting and running an effective business. And so when we change that and give people the information that they need to succeed, we change that failure rate to a success rate, and we create a ripple effect. So we change families, indeed, even generationally, we change families, not just the present structure. And we change the business, the community, the region, and even nations. Yeah.
And, I think that's very important. And as I mentioned frequently in other episodes of this show, I've done a lot of research on things like inherited trauma and resonance repatterning, those types of studies that deal with the stuff that happens within our families. And I captured an interest on that originally when I got really interested in my own genealogy and why certain parts of my family resisted my curiosity.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's revealed a lot of things. What I love is how, and this is an analogy I like to use. We have two parents. One way or another, there's a mother and a father, biologically, whether they're the people who raised you, whether they've switched genders, whatever. There was a mother and a father. That had to happen biologically. And that means you come from two different lines. And you are not one parent's family, you're not the other parent's family. You're not your adopted family or your foster family or the family you chose. You are a combination of those things. So on the one hand, I hear about how I really just don't have much family left, so I should really appreciate them. And on the other hand, I hear celebrations about how many of us there are. You can go any direction you want from that statement and realize that there is some interesting stuff going on. And we all have it. We all have it.
Yes.
And part of the power that we gain from understanding this stuff is not necessarily to judge it, not to have resentment about it. And if you do have resentment about it, there are ways of dealing with it and transforming that into your ability to create a new pattern and a new narrative that moves down forward. So that's just my personal take on it. Now, with that being said, what is it
completely
you
agree.
do? Yeah, what is it you actually do so that our listeners understand?
All right. So I'm a profit acceleration and exit strategy specialist. So I'm going to throw another statistic out there for you, Adam. 90% of business failures cite a lack of profitability as the reason that they failed. And
Yeah,
95% of business owners who contact a broker to sell their business have nothing to sell. The broker turns away 95% of the calls that come in.
I
They
believe
didn't
that.
create the value that someone else wants to buy. And so if you build your business correctly from the beginning or from where you are now and you start to build that correctly, then you automatically create an exit strategy in the process. You're automatically
Yeah.
creating something that you can sell later. So I put those two together, profit acceleration and exit strategy specialist.
Yeah, and I think that when we think about how we're programmed, this brings up the question: is what is success and what is failure? I have one line of business that I know will not survive me and cannot exist without me. So I could have said, "Well, you got to leverage that. You got to make mini atoms." Okay, well, for that piece, I don't want to. So I have the option. I recognize this of creating other business lines, which I'm developing now, that do have high saleability. That candidly, once they're fully formed, it's not going to matter whether I'm there or not. So
And
you really
yes,
can have both. It's not an either or, but it is something to consider, especially if you ever want to take a real vacation again.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Very good.
so as people find their way to deciding to work with you, what are some of the let's just say three, if you have them, of the most frequently asked questions you hear?
Well, and even just this week, the question is, well, what is a business coach? What do you do? Um, I think another question that comes along is, how long is this? How much per hour? How long is this program? And a good business
Yeah,
coach is not going to charge you by the hour because they're providing you a lot of experience, not an hour of time. They're
right.
providing you their wisdom and their knowledge and all of their experiences. And then, how long is that program? Is this going to be 6 weeks? No, it's going to be a lot longer than
Uh-huh.
that if you want sustainable results.
Yeah, an advisory I give people when looking at a business coach is, and I also give advice to business coaches when seeking clients, is there's one thing you want to make sure does not find its way into the conversation. If it does, you get rid of it. Is the client coming to you and saying, "You still owe me 4 hours of
Yeah.
coaching."
Yeah.
Okay, well, how do you measure that? I mean, what is
Right.
4 more hours of sitting on a Zoom call or a phone call or in person going to accomplish? What about all the stuff that happens outside the official calls? What about the
Right.
development? What about the experience of the coach? So once or twice, I've actually gotten that with some of the coaching I do, and it'll turn into one of the agreements we have is we agree to meet weekly or whatever it is, and it's with the caveat that every once in a while I'll miss one, every once in a while you'll miss one. We all have vacations, we all have medical appointments, and so. But the goal is we'll hook up about say 4 times a month, and
Right.
then next thing you know, they have the chart of how many more hours do I owe you. And my first question is, what would you look to achieve with those hours?
Exactly.
And if they have a good answer to that, then that's a conversation. But
Yeah.
if it's just a matter that they want to feel that they had hours and hours to sit on a conversation and go through the same loops over and over again, that's not going to get
Yeah.
them any closer to an exit strategy.
No. And one of the first things I teach my client coaches, because I do have a lot of coaches in my client base, is stop charging by the hour.
Yeah,
That is not what you do.
yeah. I typically charge by the month because I also count that. Yeah, we get those 4 sessions or whatever it is. But what about when you have a 911 situation? You need 10 minutes of my time. What about
Yeah.
when you go to my Skype and type "got a sec" and I answer you?
Right.
Does that mean, do you want me to measure the amount of minutes we're having in those
Right.
chats?
And I
I mean,
charge by the
because
year and
yeah,
break it
because
down to the month.
in that case, if I start looking at timestamps, you're going to owe me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how I
Yep.
see it. So those are frequently asked questions. What about the questions you wish people would ask?
That was a really good question. And one of my first responses is that, how will I know when the coaching is working for me? In other words, what does that look like? What does success look like when I'm working with you?
Uh-huh.
Uh, what does working with you look like? What does
Yeah.
success look like? And will my results be sustainable?
Yeah. And what I want to leave out there, and I think this would be a question that if I were in your situation, I wish people would ask, and this is an interjection I rarely do, but is what makes my business saleable? We all think we have
Yeah.
saleable businesses, and that piece of that business that I say is the Adam business that could never be sold or could
Right.
not survive without me. I had it analyzed, and I found out it's worth $25,000 for the simple reason it already has websites, it already has intellectual property, and
Right.
somebody could buy it, put their own name on it, and take my book and my writings and say, my take on the writings of Adam Homey.
Very good.
I mean, how many people publish
I
their
like
own
that.
version of Think and Grow Rich by adding their own 3 pages
Oh,
to the
yeah.
front of it? Same type of thing.
Exactly.
And I've been told that's worth $25,000 because
Very
it's an
interesting.
infrastructure they can just pick up and run with.
I love it. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
So now let's get in the last few minutes here a little bit of a lightning round on getting to know Regina a little bit better.
Okay.
What would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
I think a lot of folks would be surprised to learn that I spent 7 years on the Navajo Indian Reservation.
Okay.
While I was there, I developed a school volunteer program for parents that received a national award. And I also was one of the co-founders or founder of a literacy program for adults while I was there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. What do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
So, three things: that I'm an astute businesswoman,
Okay.
that I'm charitable in all of my relationships, always seeing the best in others, and that I operate from a sense of integrity in all that I do.
Great. Great. What famous person, alive or dead, would you love to meet? And if you
Oh,
had
that
the
one,
opportunity, what would you ask them?
yeah, that one was interesting. Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
He did so much for this country and went through so much for this country. And I would ask him how he kept putting one foot in front of the other in the face of all of that adversity. What drove him? How did he get to that place that he achieved against all
Yeah.
odds?
Yeah, and there were a lot of odds stacked against him.
There
And
were.
when people look at his daily life, it was far from idyllic.
It was indeed.
And he was handed one of the biggest crap sandwiches that any president has ever been handed. I don't know that in the 45 people who've held the office of president of the United States, one of them has ever been handed, oh, by the way, half the country's leaving.
Yeah.
And they want to fight a war to take the other half too. I
Yeah.
don't think that's ever been handed to a president before, and I hope
Yeah.
it never happens again.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
yeah. Now, what motivates you, inspires you to keep going when you're facing a tough time or encountering a challenge?
The fact that I'm making a positive impact on the world and that I get to be part of that ripple effect as my clients succeed in what their endeavors are and accomplish their goals, I get to be part of the ripple.
Fantastic. Now, finally, and I know you have a special gift for our listeners, and I will tell them about that.
Right.
But right now, in general, what is one action that you would encourage our listeners to take as a result of having listened to our conversation today?
I would encourage you to take a look at your personal and your business life. Is stress on one side of the equation or the other causing you problems on the other side? In other words, is the stress of running your business affecting your home life?
Yeah.
And if you're able to reduce or eliminate that stress, would it change your life, your relationships, and the success of your business? If the answer is yes, go out and find a coach for your marriage, for your business, for whatever area of your life that you need.
Yeah.
Seek to create that positive generational impact in your
Mhm.
life so that your children learn what a happy, successful relationship looks like
Yeah.
and learn what they can achieve. And
I'd like to add one thing just to help you because you're a coach. There's a belief out there that if you hire a coach, that means something's wrong. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
I know somebody who actually, by all accounts, has a really good marriage, and she and her husband decided to hire a marriage coach. Not because they were on the straights or thinking about divorce or bickering all the time, but
Right.
actually because they saw, well, we have a really great thing going on. How do we make it even better?
Make it better.
Yeah.
And one response to that, how you make it better, is that marriage is about the other person. It's about you making your partner happy. And as you work to make your partner happy, they're going to want to reciprocate that and make you happy. But if you're focused on me, the relationship will fall apart.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. And, thank you so much for joining us today. And before you go, I know you have a little something for us. So for all of our listeners, what I want you to do is I want you to visit this link that you're going to see if you're viewing the video version. It's Linktree, spelled linktr.ee/Bridgeport Strategy. Visit our website at brilliancepluspassion.com. Look at this episode. You'll see it in the show notes. And I'll say it one more time for those who are out jogging, listening to the audio, linktr.ee/Bridgeport Strategy. And the question that asks is, would your business survive the current economic state as the economy begins to reopen? Regina will show you how you can triple your leads, double your sales, and dramatically increase your annual revenue by more than $100,000. So what you want to do is you want to join Regina and a handful of entrepreneurs for this wonderful 2-hour masterclass and find these dramatic increases and sustainability in your business. Increase sustainability exit strategy. So with that, Regina, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.